The empire stretched across 47 star systems. Their blue-skinned warriors had conquered countless worlds. No species had ever stood against them for more than 3 standard cycles. Queen sat on her crystal throne and watched the battle unfold on the massive viewing screen. Her 4 eyes narrowed as she observed something she had never seen before. The humans were not dying fast enough. The small blue planet called Earth had only achieved faster-than-light travel 50 years ago. That had given them a simple choice: submit and become slaves or face complete destruction. Every other species had chosen submission. The humans had chosen to fight. Queen had laughed when she heard this. She sent her 3rd fleet to crush them. It should have taken 1 day. That was 3 weeks ago. On the viewing screen, she watched a human warship ram directly into one of her destroyers. The human vessel was already burning, half its systems destroyed. Any reasonable species would have surrendered. Instead, the humans aimed their dying ship at her finest destroyer and pushed their engines to maximum power. Both ships exploded in a ball of fire. "What kind of creatures are these?" whispered Admiral beside her. Queen did not answer. She was watching something else. A small shuttle had escaped from the human warship before the collision. It was flying toward the planet below, toward the ground battle that was happening on the colony world of 7. "Track that shuttle," she commanded. The viewing screen shifted to follow the small vessel. It crashed through the atmosphere and landed hard near the front lines. The door opened, and a single human stepped out. He wore golden armor that was dented and burned. In his hands, he carried a weapon they had never seen before. It looked like a sword, but it glowed with plasma energy. "Who is that?" Queen asked. Her intelligence officer checked his data pad. "Prince Alexander of the European Federation, 3rd in line to the human throne. He was supposed to be commanding that warship. He abandoned his command." "No, my queen. Our intercepts show he ordered his crew to evacuate. He stayed behind to pilot the ship into our destroyer himself. Then he escaped at the last moment." Queen leaned forward on her throne. This was interesting. On the screen, Prince Alexander walked toward the battle. Human soldiers were falling back. They were outnumbered 10 to 1. The ground forces were pushing them toward the civilian shelters, where thousands of human colonists were hiding. If the line fell, the civilians would be slaughtered. The human soldiers saw their prince approaching. Something changed in them. They stopped retreating. They turned and stood their ground. Prince Alexander walked past them, moving toward the lines. "What is he doing?" Admiral asked. "He will be killed immediately." But Prince Alexander did not stop. He walked straight toward the enemy. Plasma fire erupted around him. The soldiers shot at him from every direction. His golden armor absorbed hit after hit. It was burning away piece by piece, but he kept walking. He reached the first soldier and swung his plasma sword. The alien warrior fell. Prince Alexander moved to the next, and the next. He was not fighting like a trained soldier. He was fighting like something wild, something that did not understand it was supposed to be afraid. The soldiers began to back away from him. They had never seen anything like this. Their species felt fear just like any other. They knew when they were outmatched. But this human was not outmatched. He was alone against thousands. Yet he advanced as if he had already won. "Send more troops," Queen ordered. "Kill him." More soldiers rushed toward the human prince. He disappeared under a wave of blue-skinned warriors. For a moment, it seemed like he was finally dead. Then an explosion of plasma energy erupted from the pile. Bodies flew in every direction. Prince Alexander stood in the center, his armor almost completely destroyed now. Blood ran from a dozen wounds on his body. He smiled. Queen felt something she had not felt in 200 years. She felt uncertain. The human soldiers behind Prince Alexander let out a war cry. They charged forward, following their wounded prince into the enemy lines. The forces, which had been winning easily, suddenly found themselves being pushed back. "This is impossible," Admiral said. "Our forces outnumber them significantly. How are they doing this?" Queen understood, even if her admiral did not. Numbers meant nothing against creatures who did not know how to give up. They fought to win. The humans fought because they did not know any other way to live. The battle continued for hours. Prince Alexander should have died 100 times. He took wounds that would have killed any warrior. A plasma bolt burned through his shoulder. He kept fighting. A blade cut deep into his leg. He kept fighting. Half his face was covered in blood from a head wound. He kept fighting. When darkness fell on Seven, the forces retreated for the first time in the Empire's history. They left behind thousands of dead. The humans had lost many soldiers too, but they had held their ground. The civilian shelters were safe. Prince Alexander finally collapsed when the battle was over. His soldiers carried him to a medical station. The human doctors worked through the night to save his life. He had lost so much blood that his heart stopped twice. Both times they brought him back. Queen watched all of this on her viewing screen. She did not move from her throne for the entire night. The next morning she called her advisors together. They expected her to order a full invasion. Instead, she asked them a question. "What do you know about human mating rituals?" Her advisors looked at each other in confusion. Admiral spoke carefully. "My queen, I do not understand." "I have watched this species for 3 weeks now," Queen said. "They do not surrender. They do not retreat unless forced. They feel pain as deeply as any other species, yet they ignore it. Their prince walked alone into a battle against thousands of our warriors. He was torn apart and burned and cut, and he smiled while doing it." She stood from her throne and walked to the viewing screen. It showed the medical station where Prince Alexander was recovering. "The Empire has conquered many species," she continued. "We have made slaves of billions. We have become comfortable with our power. We have forgotten what it means to truly fight for something. But these humans have not forgotten. They fight like every battle is their last. They would rather die than submit." "Then we must destroy them completely," Admiral said. "They are too dangerous to allow." "Destroy them," Queen laughed. "Admiral, you are thinking too small. Why would I destroy the finest warriors in the galaxy when I could join with them instead?" The advisors began to understand. They had grown soft over centuries of easy victories. Their warriors had become comfortable, but a human alliance would create something new, something powerful. "Send a message to the human government," Queen commanded. "Tell them I wish to discuss peace terms, and tell them I wish to meet with Prince Alexander personally." 3 days later, a diplomatic shuttle landed on Earth. Queen stepped out onto human soil. She was met by armed guards and suspicious looks. The humans did not trust her. She respected that. Prince Alexander was there to meet her. His wounds were still healing. He stood with the help of a metal cane. His face was from the battle, but his eyes were clear and strong. "Your Majesty," he said formally, "you wanted to speak with me." "I wanted to see you," Queen corrected. "I watched you fight on Seven. I have conquered 47 star systems. I have seen warriors from 100 different species. None of them have impressed me the way you did." Prince Alexander's expression did not change. "Many good people died on Seven. I was simply doing my duty." "You piloted a burning ship into my destroyer. Then you walked alone into an army of my soldiers. You were cut down again and again, and you refused to die. That is not duty. That is something else entirely." The human prince finally showed a small smile. "My people have a word for it. We call it stubbornness." Queen laughed. It was a genuine laugh, something she rarely allowed herself. "I like that word, stubbornness. Yes, that is what I saw." She stepped closer to him. Her 4 eyes met his too. "I am here to offer peace between our peoples, but I am also here to offer something else, an alliance, a marriage alliance." The human guards raised their weapons. Prince Alexander held up his hand to stop them. "You want to marry me?" he asked. I want to join your strength with mine, Queen said. The Empire has grown weak. We need the fire that burns inside your species. Together, we could build something that would last for 1,000 years. Prince Alexander was quiet for a long moment. You killed thousands of my people. Yes, and your people killed thousands of mine. War is war, but I am offering something different now. I am offering a future. How do I know this is not a trick? Queen reached up and removed the crown from her head. She knelt on the ground before him. Every advisor gasped in shock. No queen had ever knelt before another species. I kneel before you, Prince Alexander of Earth, not because I am weak, but because I recognize your strength. I offer my empire, my fleet, and my hand. I ask only that you consider my offer. The human prince looked down at the alien queen kneeling before him. For weeks, her forces had tried to destroy his people. Now she was offering everything she had. Stand up, he said finally. Queen rose to her feet. Her eyes searched his face for an answer. I cannot accept your offer today, Prince Alexander said. My people have suffered greatly. They need time to heal. They need to see that you are sincere. I understand. But I will not reject it either. He extended his hand. Come, walk with me. Let us talk about this future you imagine. Queen took his hand. It was warm and strong despite his injuries. Together, they walked away from the diplomatic shuttle, away from the guards and advisors. The galaxy would never be the same. They had come to conquer Earth. Instead, they had found something they did not expect. They had found a species that could not be broken. They had found partners worthy of standing beside them. And Queen had found a human prince whose courage had shocked her into seeing a new possibility. Not conquest, but alliance. Not submission, but partnership. In the years that followed, the human alliance became the most powerful force in the galaxy. They faced many enemies together. Prince Alexander became King Alexander, and Queen stood beside him. Their children carried the best traits of both species. They were strong like their mother and stubborn like their father. The story of how it began became legend. How a single human prince walked alone into an army, how he refused to die, and how an alien queen was so impressed that she offered him her empire. Some said it was a love story. Others called it a political arrangement. But those who knew the truth understood it was something simpler. It was the story of two warriors who recognized something in each other, something rare and precious. They recognized courage.